Hi Scorpios, and welcome to your February 2022 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on and talking to you about your month ahead. I hope you're all doing really well. It's seeming to be a very interesting month for you with a lot of sort of complex resolutions coming in. I hope that it starts to get more simple for you, but I do think that overall it's going to be a very wonderful sort of constantly getting better and better by the day situation coming in. For those of you who are new, I do a series of intuitive messages for the month ahead, followed by a week-to-week tarot forecast and an extended reading on Patreon, which will be linked below. I hope it resonates for you, but if it doesn't, be sure to check out your sun, moon, rising sign to get some more definition. So really a big key word for a lot of the signs this month has been definition. I feel that we have to start defining whether we do or don't like certain paths or avenues that we're currently on. And we have to really have an eye out for all of the different ways that things could change or evolve, because it's like a very quickly evolving energy that we're in now. It's very adaptable, but it's asking us to really kind of fix ourselves in that adaptability. So it's kind of contradictory, like everything has been so far this year. The main intuitive message that I'm feeling for Scorpio is that of complex karma. This started to come up actually in Libra's extended reading, so definitely check that out for more on complex karma. But the karma does not feel particularly good or bad for many Scorpios. It's almost like you are teaching yourself a new lesson about extremes. So your sign rules over really good stuff, really bad stuff, really dark, really light. There's a Pluto Return happening in the US, for instance, so it's a very scorpionic time there and globally. Pluto is the dominant energy right now, and it's getting late in Capricorn, which really strengthens it and really makes Pluto a formidable and materially focused and invested energy. So you are, of course, if you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, or if you are a Scorpio, that makes you a Plutonian person, and it means that you are connected to that energy, and it is a complex type of karma. So on one hand, you might see dramatic increases in a lot of different sectors in your life, but there might also be like visible wear and tear, or there might be certain other parts of yourself which once used to be like very light and very weightless, and what you used to think was easygoing now becoming a little bit more rigid, or becoming a little bit more focused on gains in certain places that you used to not be so focused on. So the energy of gain is coming up for you. 10 of Pentacles, the Empress, Queen of Pentacles. I think that you're about to get like a huge raise, promotion, bonus, or influx into like your business or your investments, or even it's not necessarily money. This can be like inheritance of energy as well. So inheriting another person's like role or energy, and I don't really love it. Okay. It's not something that I feel is a good or a bad thing, but you could find yourself like, for example, wanting to commit yourself to a certain cause or form of action that you never considered for yourself. It's like a sudden new soul purpose coming in, and the decision of whether or not to commit to that or to keep going on your current path. There's a bit of a path incongruency here that I feel that you do have to face in February and understand how you want to proceed with that. And also, I feel that there are quite a few sacrifices that are very positive for you this month. So sacrifices of addiction, of negative time spending, of poor time management, difficult circadian rhythms, all of that can really be placed or set aside now, and you can immediately see gains in other places in your life because of that. So interestingly, I would say with the Emperor reversed and the Empress upright, this is very interesting. So no longer are you really having to like make the decision or execute some type of judgment. Now it's kind of coming to you. So now it's almost like the universe just delivers. I felt that 2020 and 2021 were very active years for Scorpio, where Scorpio had to like bang the gavel and like choicefully move into different territories, and like it wasn't basically being served to them on a silver platter. They had to pursue it. Now that's changing, and that's interesting to me in the context of the year of 2022, as many of you know, entering into February, February 1st, we have the year of the tiger starting. So we have the Chinese Lunar New Year. And we also have all planets direct, so no more retrogrades. So following a nodal shift as well with the South Node having moved into your sign, can you guys imagine how much things are changing this month? You don't have to try so hard anymore. It's kind of just going to come to you. But for the Scorpios who can really use their conscious pursuit in a way that's helpful to other people and in a way that is karmically sound and integrative, I want to say, if I can say the word, what incredible results can start to come into your life now. I think that you're going to have a lot of clarity on like what the reality of your situation is and like what you can and can't do, what you do and don't want to pursue, what is time wasting and what is really for your soul expansion. And then once you start to really define that stuff and you start to really understand what you want and how that's going to manifest itself, as your X-ray vision into manifestation is particularly on point during any all planets direct, but especially with South Node in your sign, giving you an ancestral or past life component to your knowledge and intelligence right now. You can see everything you need to see here. And I recommend a lot of like time just in like maybe sitting, looking out the window, kind of observing the exterior environment and just letting that show you how to move forward instead of being so, I don't know, desperate feeling, like you're getting the notes down on paper, figuring it all out, strategizing around it all, like trying really hard. That's not what it's indicative to me during this time. There comes a certain point where effortlessness or ease within a series of manifestations becomes a larger advantage than having really been like super tenacious and trying super hard and being like really crazy about it. So this is more of an effortless manifestation that I feel coming in for you now. And it's just like the path has been created for you. You might have been trying really hard for a long time. You might have been pushing your purpose and your cause upon others like extremely for so long now. And now that's done. The path is created. The people support you. The situations line up. And it's kind of like South Node is in your sign. And trying or being like, for example, like a salesperson during this time or being super effortful with your causes could work against you now. So I feel that you need to adjust appropriately considering that. The final intuitive message that I'm feeling for you now for this oncoming month of February is that it's like not quite done. Okay, so this is interesting. That series of words, it's not quite done. What exactly it is that you're trying to really step into, if it's not here yet, if you're not already there, if you've not already been given that role or position, or you've not already accomplished that goal that you've been on for a long time. It's not here yet for a reason, because something that you've been doing to build toward it or connect to it is also not quite done. So yes, there is kind of a hybrid place here. I mean, if you see all of the cards in this reading, except for the Tower, are kind of like this kind of easy, supportive, you don't have to try too hard energy. But then we have like the Tower coming up here, really disintegrating or dissolving a lot of the problem areas, or giving you an obstacle that serves as a synchronicity. So what I'm feeling is that for one group of Scorpios, this can be a pitfall as a result of like laziness or not actually really stepping up. But for most Scorpios, it's more like not adjusting to this new nodal axis. So you have to understand that you've really got to be sort of more of a regal and capable person now, tactful. Okay, this is not the territory for brand new endeavors or things with which you have no context. Like, this is not the time where you like go globetrotting and like stay in hostels. This is not the time where you like start that brand new business in the industry that you've never been in before. This is not the time where you like strike out like on your own as like a complete independent creative or something if you've never done that before. This is a time where context rewards you, and that which you've been doing for a long time places you into a certain ease and knowledge, because you kind of know how it works, or you've already taken off the training wheels. You've been here, you've done this, you know how this machine works, like you understand it. This is where the rewards are for Scorpio now, and expanding that or becoming more critical or more irreplaceable within those types of systems Replaceability seems to me to be a key word for you right now too. What parts of your life could be replaced? What parts of your experience do you need to focus on in that context? And how can you make everything aspect of your life, whether that be like your assets, your relationships, your routine, be something that is important and not something that's fiat, okay? So when we have North Node and Taurus opposing you, okay, you have to make sure that you're not doing things for no reason. Like, it's really going to tear up a lot of the valueless or fiat components of your life. So if you have, for example, a lot of habits or time spending mechanisms that don't really contribute to your growth or who you are, but they are like a way for your psyche to just kind of, veg out. Those things also kind of need to be placed aside right now. So you can see really how much of your life is meaningful at this time, and then how much of it is also like a coping process. It feels that many Scorpios have had like the time to cope, and now we are, getting into this year of the tiger, getting into this time with like South Node in your sign with the Pluto return happening. It's like, this is not really the time for Scorpio to like be, unable to face their purpose or unable to face like the more macro cosmic aspect of your life, okay? So things are shifting from a micro place to a macro place for Scorpios. It has really been micro since about the time of the Saturn in Scorpio. So for about 8 years, honestly, this has been more of a micro experience. And here in 2022, and I feel really solidly in February of 2022, we are actually shifting into a more macro place as Scorpios. And there are, I think, calls for leadership from a lot of Scorpio people, but this has to be something integrative. This has to be something with integrity and void of corruption. So we have a problem with Pluto return, dealing with corruption, dealing with difficult power games. And for those Scorpio people who are really the non-corrupt light force that Pluto also represents, it is not just a dark energy that is evil. Okay, that it is that, and then it is the complete polar opposite, which is like the opposite of evil. So Scorpios in that category, I do feel that we really have to stand up and be prepared to really offset some of the negatives that the Pluto return will be bringing in, because those will be there. And it could end up resulting in a complete and total transformation for not just society at large, but really just for how we regard what has been our way of living or our lifestyle in its wholesome capacity. So we have a complete lifestyle shift, I feel, coming in between now and like June for Scorpios. And it's going to feel really fun by the summer. It's going to feel like, wow, I've totally transformed. I'm no longer bound by a certain illness, disease, lack, austerity, or negative coping mechanism. But it could feel a little bit rough between now and June. I've got to be quite honest with you, Scorpios. I'm feeling like this gets worse before it gets better. So there is going to maybe be some loss of face for some Scorpios between now and June. Or it's going to be like this critical period of time for you right as the Pluto return goes exact February 20th, especially if you're in the US or in any country that has like a strong alliance or connection to the US, but specifically on the US mainland, okay, especially. You've got to really think about like the longevity of your bloodline and like your ancestry and like your own descendants here during this time, and making sure that you are not creating any situations or haphazard problems that could have like generational long-term impacts. That's a lot to digest. We'll talk more about that in the Pluto return video. But some of the actions that you do between now and June, like in the very beginning of this exact Pluto return, have generational impacts. So we have to really get stuff right, and we have to not be afraid of being embarrassed or not be afraid of like asking the hard questions, because we have the ability for that now. By 2024, 25, 26, Scorpios going to certain people asking the hard questions will not really be tolerated. It's not, what I mean is you need to be in a wholesome state of self-empowerment by 2026, okay? If you're not already there now, I mean, many Scorpios are there now, but I also feel that for most Scorpios, they're not particularly satisfied with their current structures. And I do feel this time between like now and 2024 really to be a time of really getting it right in almost a type A perfectionist way, and really knowing that things are solid and stable, and then having that foundation to stand on. Okay. But as it relates to just February, I really think for most Scorpios, it is about sacrifices and good sacrifices. So we're not talking about like, oh no, I have to sacrifice the thing that I love in my life. It's not like that. It's like, think very carefully about things that waste a lot of time in your life that don't lead you to a feeling of wholesomeness, because those things will end up being what caused the downfall if it were to happen. And then also really take time to consider what is undoubtedly like growing you no matter what, and try to redistribute a little bit energy more into these undoubtful growing mechanisms as compared to the coping mechanisms that are like very connected to like the timeline of 2014 and 15, because we have this quarter return of Saturn also happening during the beginning of the Pluto return. So Saturn having made a quarter return since it was last in Scorpio, in Aquarius, you know. So you need to know that if you can't give certain, for example, negative addictions or self-sabotage issues, negative trauma coping mechanisms, if you can't let those things go now, they probably will stay until the next time Saturn is in Scorpio, you know, like I guess 20 years from now. So here's a really good chance for you to get stuff right in your life. Okay, really good chance. Saturn in Aquarius for a Scorpio person is just a wonderful time to get the frameworks and the concepts all totally set in their lives. And it just has a high concentrated, intense implication because of the Pluto return. So long intuitive messages. Let's talk about the week-to-week Scorpio. So in the first week, you've got the Emperor reversed, rooted down by the Queen of Pentacles. So yes, automatically, week number 1 of February, as planets go direct, you don't have to try so hard anymore. You just kind of have to show up. You just have to be available for a more healthy experience. You kind of just have to know now what you do and don't need to do and implement it. You've kind of come past the super hard pushing, having to go 1,000,000 miles an hour all day, every day, and you can actually just kind of breathe and even take a bit of time off, or just kind of enjoy the free time that you do have without having to try so hard to create a different type of outcome. There is a big focus on diet, health, and small components of your health. So health is the main thing now, and it's not so much the quest for some type of authority or some type of capability. You just have to kind of sit in the place that you have created for yourself now. Week number 2, you've got the 6 of Cups reversed, rooted down by the 10 of Pentacles. So you could be giving too much, you could be spending too much, you could be giving too much of yourself for other people. 6 of Cups reversed is about overgiving or not really being compensated or given back enough. So you have to maybe focus a little bit on that. And it seems to directly correlate with you trying less hard and creating more time to just experience joy in your life instead of trying to always create some type of new series of events. It's rooted down by the 10 of Pentacles, so it seems that you can just focus on your family, or you can focus on what you have already created. Again, it keeps kind of coming through over and over again. This really is about what you've already created. Second week of February, all of February. Enjoying the sort of dividends that the universe is giving you from lots and lots of building over a long period of time. Okay, week number 3, you have the Empress rooted down by Knight of Cups. You know, subtlety is really nice for Scorpios now. You don't have to be super flamboyant or super crazy or super spendthrift. The Empress kind of denotes a bit of splendor and opulence, but Knight of Cups is limiting that a little bit and creating more of a humble approach, or more of a dressed down version of this splendor. So I do think it's really important to not peacock your energy or to not be too overwhelming to people. It's kind of one of the components of the Capricorn time that we went into in 2020, which is still lasting, and it has to do with reservedness. It has to do with, not living beyond one's means, not being too crazy. You can already see the push towards modesty, which we've talked a lot about on this channel, generally being represented in the entertainment industry, being represented all around. We're just not quite as, debauched perhaps as previously, or not as out there. So it's important to embrace modesty in a new way, I feel. Week number 2, you have 2 of Cups rooted down by the Tower. So this could signify the end of a relationship or the end of a certain self-perception as well. So we have a self-perception shift that I really feel more than a relationship shift there. 4th week of February, Scorpios, I feel, are viewing themselves differently and seeing their momentum and trajectory very differently, especially if you look at it over the time of this Saturn quarter return, from like the time of 2014 and 15. If you look at how you viewed yourself then and what you saw maybe as your best opportunity or your life path or where you wanted to be, I mean, you could really be solidifying a 100% opposite shift there. It's likely that you're in a completely 180 almost, or moving towards a 180 from where you were. The micro goes to the macro, the night goes to the day, the austerity becomes splendor. This is really a big 180 that I feel that you've made, and that's really nice to actually celebrate as some things start to make themselves clear that they are leaving your experience, or people or experiences, jobs, whatever. As they become clear that they are going, this is an invitation for celebration for you as a Scorpio. So anyway, let's talk more about that in your extended reading on Patreon, Scorpios. I do extended readings for every sign and weekly tea chats. Be sure to check it out. I'll link it below, and it's in the center of your screen now. I'll get a central theme, 2 supporting themes, and significator cards so we can look more into these experiences for you. Let's do that now. Have a great month. Bye.